Hey everyone, I'm Nicole Moss. I'm the co-founder of Moss Consulting HR Services, and I am here today with Tori Guevara in beautiful Denver, Colorado. So excited to spend time with Tori, who is one of our incredible HR managers.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm super pumped to be here. I'm employee number 9 with Moss Consulting, and we're already rounding the corner for employee number 25.
Yes.
Preparing to onboard for that. So what is that like for a business owner?
It's crazy. So Tori started with us about 3 months ago. We were 9 employees 3 months ago. We're 25 employees today, 3 months later. And it has been incredibly exciting. Incredibly stressful, but in a really good way. And I think it's given us a lot of empathy and a lot of view into a lot of our clients who are also growing very fast. So we're feeling those growing pains. We're feeling the excitement of growing a team and growing that culture and building that collaboration. I think one of the things I'm most proud of is, you joined and it still felt very small. Actually, at the time it felt big to have 9 employees, but now at 25, like you've seen an incredible amount of growth with us in a really fast way. And I think it's like putting everyone in a pressure cooker, because I feel like we're all, I don't know, we've done some cool stuff together already, Tori. Yes. Like we've jumped into some things. Tori's one of our most driven, process focused, like Tori just gets it done. Like you just get those things done. But can you talk a little bit about like the collaboration of our team as a whole and how we've grown since you started?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that the overall culture of Moss Consulting is very collaborative. We foster an environment of collaboration, of good partnerships, of being able to partner with each other, to lean in on each other's strengths. Yeah. Where we may be a little faulty at, where we're like, what's going on with this? What can we be looking at? How can we find a creative, innovative solution for our clients that's going to help meet that bottom line. And so it's really great to be able to tap into an incredible team that has such a well of knowledge and experience, both hands-on and educationally, that we can go in and say, hey, we need to figure this out and we want to get this done.
And we
do it. We get it done.
It's been really fun to watch Tori join the team because you're just you're a natural leader. And it's been really fun to watch you bring people together. And we've put you on really some of the most complex integrity checks and some complex audit items that you've taken generalists who are getting into HR and who are like budding in their career, and you just rally them together and you rally around them and really make them feel confident. Like where does that leadership come from you?
So I think it's a collective, really. It comes from, I had some excellent mentors and great leaders in my life and throughout my career. And I've also learned a lot trial by fire. Yeah. So you learn what works and what doesn't work. You learn what motivates teams and what doesn't motivate teams. And you really try to figure out what's going to motivate that team. And so it's getting all of the pieces in line, making sure that we're able to rock and roll, able to operate effectively and efficiently, and making sure that the team is motivated on a regular basis to drive that thing to the finish line. So I've had a lot of excellent servant leaders and doing a lot of reading, taking in those resources, making sure, because I feel like if you're going to do something, you might as well do it right. And if I'm going to lead people or lead processes, I want to make sure that they're done the right way and that people feel like they're a part of something.
I love it. And I think we've seen direct impact to the team that has worked with you. And I think one of the things that I love watching you work, I pop into fewer meetings now because I don't need to be there, which is an excellent thing. But you never task anyone with something that you wouldn't do yourself. And I have great respect for that because it's, you've got it. I mean, it's just great. And they follow you and it's excellent. So we're thrilled that you are on the team. It's been really fun. And to have you so early at number 9, which doesn't seem so early, but it is, has just been excellent. So we're thrilled to have you on the team.
So one of the things that we do differently here at Moss Consulting when we start with a new client is the integrity check. Yes. What does that process look like and how is that experience for a business owner?
Yeah, it sounds intimidating, but it's not. And you've led a lot of our integrity checks. It's a way, it's dual purpose. One, when we step in as the HR department for a client, that there's a lot of liability that comes onto us. And so we need to see kind of where the HR environment is as a whole so that we can put a plan together to make corrections, fix anything that's not compliant, which is okay when that happens. We see it all the time that business owners are moving really fast. No one's really trained in HR unless you're trained in HR. And so what we do is we go and look where there might be issues, where there might be compliance problems or gaps. Maybe a view with the benefits, maybe there's other better options for benefits. We want to make sure that payroll is running the most efficient and correctly. And then we want to look at culture. We want to look at turnover. And so what we do is we have a big, long, boring spreadsheet of everything that we go through. And we look at every piece of that. And once we finish the integrity check, which you've led several of, we put together a presentation for the business owner that lets them know where there might be gaps, what we need to fix right away, what can wait a little bit. And we put together a 30, 60, 90-day plan, a quarterly plan, and then an annual plan for our business owners so that they know what we're going to work on. They sign off on it. We talk about it together. We're open to being very flexible. And it gives us kind of a roadmap for the first 12 months of working together.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really love it because of the level that we dig in so extensively. A lot of times when folks are working day to day in the weeds, there are just pieces that get missed.
Yes.
Not on purpose. It just tends to happen because you're so busy doing business. And so I think that it's super helpful, regardless of what scope of business that you are tagging us in for, that to have this integrity check ran, because we can really kind of go in and fill in those gaps and see and check on some of the back doors that might have been left open.
Yep.
So I think it's absolutely an essential and wonderful offering that we give to our clients.
Yeah, I think it brings them a lot of peace of mind once it's done. And then we know what we need to fix. We know how to fix it, when we're going to get it fixed by. And then it's just a kind of a checkbox that business owners didn't know they needed to check. But once they know, they're like, okay, we need to get that done. And again, there's no shame in any of this. Like, I think what the integrity check does is it gives business owners a peace of mind that they didn't know they needed. Because once you know that there's a gap that we need to fill, or a compliance piece that we need to fix, that, we check that box, and it's like relief after the fact. And what it does is it really creates this incredible way to start a relationship with our clients, because it allows them to be kind of vulnerable with their business to us. They see that we're going to come with care and compassion and solutions for what they need. And it really helps build a trusting and strong relationship that we would work on for the rest of our relationship together.
Absolutely. So Nicole, can you walk me through some of the integrity checks that we've completed and the things that we found?
Sure. Oftentimes we find issues with I-9s being not filled in completely or correctly. That's one item that's super easy fix, low hanging fruit, easy to fix, but could be, from a compliance standpoint, incredibly risky and expensive for a business owner. I think we find often that employee files aren't kept correctly or completely. Or consistently. Yeah, that's a good point, is often the time, some are done really well. And this happens because HR employees turn over, people get busy, things change, compliance laws change all the time too, and we're kind of apprised of when those are happening. Other things that we find is in departments, sometimes we'll have a department that has super high turnover, whereas the rest of the company doesn't. And so we can dig in very granularly to, is that based on the department and the type of work? Is it maybe based on a supervisor that needs some leadership training? So there's all kinds of things that we find, but anything that we find in the HR realm, we like to look at, create a solution for, present that to the business owner, and get it fixed just as quickly as we can.
So Nicole, how do we make the integrity check into a one-year plan, and how do we effectively prioritize that?
That's a great question, and there's like a couple different layers to it. So as a business owner myself, I want to know what is going to cause us the most financial pain of the business. And so we present that way. So we were talking earlier about I-9s. If you have 100 employees and all the I-9s are wrong, that could be a pretty hefty fine. That can be up to, I think it's $2,250 per I-9 that's wrong. So that adds up really quickly. And so how I would prioritize it is, okay, we have an I-9 issue. We need to put that at the top of the list, because this is going to cost you the most money. If the Department of Labor was going to come in, or you had a 401k audit that was going to hit look at I-9s and have to report that to the Department of Labor. We would then look at, so it's kind of like must fix, need to fix, but maybe not as urgently, and then would like to fix. And so the first 30 days, we're going to focus typically on those big priorities that need to get fixed, that if an audit were to happen, would cost the most amount of money. 60 days would be, planning for the need to fix things. This could be cultural issues. This could be turnover issues. This could be just paperwork, filling up or firming up the employee file process, that may not be compliance issues, but still just needs to be done. And then the rest of the time would be like let's make the handbook easier to read. Let's change the tonality of it so that it's easier for employees to absorb. Let's shore up the onboarding process. Let's make sure that we have our documentation processes in place. Let's talk about what the process looks like if we need to do employee like a performance improvement plans or termination discussions. So we pick the big things first, the most costly risk items first, fix those, and then we prioritize based on risk, but we also prioritize based on the client's budget. So we do charge by the hour. We don't charge a PEPM. We don't charge a monthly flat fee. And so what we never want our clients to think is that it's just an open checkbook that Moss is going to come in and fix all these things. We will, but oftentimes there's a budget and we know that we have to stick to that budget. And so the things that can be pushed down to the bottom of the list tend to be. And so as we get the most critical items done first and we have more time and we know the budget, then we'll work on those later. So what we do to make sure that we stick in with that budget after, as we build out the 1-year plan is we send out weekly reports that show how many hours we worked that week, what we accomplished, what we plan to work on the following week, and a running total of hours for the month. And so it gives the business owner, one, visibility at a high level of what we're doing so that they can always check in and see where we are in that plan that we gave them. But it also gives them the ability to say, hey guys, and listen, we own a business, like we get it. Some cash is everything and sometimes cash flow gets tight. And so if it's like, hey, I know you guys are working on the handbook and the verbiage, but can we push that to next month? It gives them that visibility and that that we want them to communicate that with us. So we go with the plan and then reality hits sometimes and that plan gets pushed, but that's how that's our theory of working through the 1-year plan. So Tori, you've been with us for 3 months, but you have quickly become someone that we rely on for operational excellence and the ability to drive things forward. And you've become sort of a leader for our newer to HR employees. And so what advice would you give to someone who's maybe cutting their teeth in HR or new to the industry to advance in their career into the kind of operational excellence that you work in?
So I would give them the advice to not shy away from the small things. And that both the experience and exposure are important. So anything that you can get exposure to, anything that you can get your hands a little dirty with experience on, because you never know how it's going to serve you later.
Right.
And within HR, it's so multidimensional, but everything works so much together. Mm-hmm. And so when the devil's in the details and when you're taking a look at all of those different pieces of really paying attention and seeing where you can add value, but where you can also glean value, it's very essential to operational excellence. And you never know when those different pieces are all going to come together, and it proves that that experience or that exposure really was something that was needed in that moment.
I love that. Steve and I were talking last night about kind of the progression from generalist to HR manager, and I was talking about how it's you got to do it. You just got to get your hands dirty. Yes. And you can read the books and you can take the classes, but it is a different, you can understand the theory of HR fully, but sitting in a room with someone and telling them that you're removing their job from them, or having a discussion with someone about their hygiene at work or the way that they presented themselves to a client or to an employee. These are difficult conversations that we're having with real life people. And every one of those conversations, I don't care if you've had the same conversation about a hygiene issue or whatever, the response will be different. And so when we're teaching and we have young professionals come in, it's like, you got to sit there with them. And unfortunately, our practice is in real life scenarios with real life people. And so it's been really fun to watch the team really gravitate towards you. And I've watched you kind of manage them and be like, okay, watch how I would handle this, or here's how I would do that. And that just comes by doing it a lot. And so to your point, you got to get your hands dirty, and it's uncomfortable a lot of the times. Any HR person that tells you that they're comfortable firing people or they're comfortable having those difficult discussions, they're not. Maybe it's like a self-soothe or whatever, because we all manage in our own ways. But it's hard. It's really hard. And so yeah, your advice of getting your hands dirty, I think that's the best advice, because until you do it, like in theory, it seems easy, but every time that you do it in real life, it's
Yes. And I think cluing in on the teachable moments as well, right? Because there's a lot of exposure and a lot that you can learn just by hearing and seeing how someone who has the experience is operating in it. And that's how I try to operate a lot of times with the teams that I get to work with as well, is I'm stating this out loud so that you can understand my thought process on how I'm handling this. Because there's usually, especially with our clients, with different dynamics, with the things that we're doing and all of the folks who may be involved with all of the different pieces of HR, we have to have a multifaceted solution.
Right.
And so sometimes when it looks just very black and white or very, like level playing field, it's not necessarily so. So it's stating not only does it solution this, but it also solutions this. Right. And you have to be able a lot, I think, in the modern HR to strategically think from that perspective and look at and make sure that you're touching all of those spots.
Absolutely.
So picking up as a newbie or as more of a green person on, hey, this is a teachable moment. This is something I need to pay attention to and cue in on, because a lot of what I have learned has been hands-on, getting my hands dirty, but also making sure that I was learning from the people around me on how they approach things, on how they responded to things.
Absolutely. And to that point, which you're absolutely right, working for Moss Consulting can be incredibly challenging, because doing that with one client, like if you're in the HR department of one company, that in itself is difficult. But, we're managing, the HR managers of this company are managing 6, 8, 10, 12, sometimes 15 clients at a time. And how you would strategize and present the same solution for one client might be a completely different delivery for the other. And so anyone who's interested in really learning HR and who wants to be challenged should absolutely reach out to us. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Tori Guevara and I are coming to you from Denver, Colorado. It was awesome talking to you, Tori, about the growth of our business and our clients' businesses. And we will see you all next time.
Till next time.
It's fast, it's fun, it's the Moss Minute.